Andy, former corporal, triple amputee, MBE, foundation leader for the Standing Tall Foundation. Hell of a story.
Yeah.
All I could think about this morning when I was coming in, driving in, I was thinking, thank God I didn't skip the gym today, because I was thinking, what your life has been, what's my excuse? I think, first of all, I'm really grateful for you being here today and sharing your story. It is truly inspirational. And it's one of those, like, where do we start on it? But I'd like to start with, let's understand how we got here today. Talk us through, the corporal of Andy, the situation which led to you becoming a triple amputee, and then how you got to being here today.
Yeah, no, thanks for inviting me along. Yeah, it's great to be here. Even when people tell me all them things that you just reeled off there, even I'm a bit overwhelmed with all the stuff that I've actually gone on to do and all that. But a lot of it's just been through circumstances and sometimes being in the right place at the right time, sometimes being in the wrong place at the wrong time as well. But I think it's just about your own perspective on things. So I see like doors open rather than doors shut. So I see what's happened to me as an opportunity, and you don't just wake up one day as a triple amputee and be resilient. These things build up, don't they, over years and over your childhood. You become, things happen in your childhood that make you resilient. So although when I was younger, my granddad was my inspiration for joining the armed forces.
Yep.
He was in the army, in the Royal Tank Regiment, did D-Day, was in Italy, was in Egypt, was in Africa, all over the place. He used to tell me all these fascinating stories. Never went into much detail about the bad times, but just all these fascinating stories about travelling all around the world and all that. And he just, I don't know, he was a really kind gentleman. He passed away, unfortunately, when I was about 14. So it was like, between, I remember 9 to maybe 11, 12. I remember chatting with him, watching the wrestling. He had a flat nose, must have done a bit of boxing in the army, and he used to turn his hearing aids off as well. If things got a bit too much in the house, me and my sisters running around, he'd just turn his hearing aids off. He was deaf due to being a tank commander in the army. But he used to tell me all these stories, and I was just fascinated. I thought, you know what, that's me. I'm gonna join the army as well. So, like I say, I worked hard at being at school, being from St Helens, big rugby league town, as we know. So I played a lot of rugby league, played for Saints Crusaders, played for the school, and just did whatever I could to keep myself fit, so I could get in the army. I thought, all you need to be is just fit and strong, and a bit streetwise, and you can get in. Which was ideal for me, really, because academically I weren't very good. When I was younger, I was only about 5 years old. We were in a car crash, and back then in the day, there was no SUVs, was there, for 6 people, families, you know what I mean? So we had a motorbike and sidecar. I don't know if you ever remember them. You don't see.
Yeah, I do remember. I think my granddad had one, which my dad used to go in, actually. Yeah. Yeah, that was 2 generations ago.
So my dad would have a motorbike, and then there'd be 5 of us in this sidecar. So,
no way.
Yeah, my mum would be in it. I'd be I think I was in between my mum's legs, and my sister would be next to her, and then 2 in the back, this sidecar. And unfortunately, a drink driver crashed into it head on, and my dad got thrown off the bike, and my mum got her ankle crushed. My sister broke her pelvis, and I broke my leg in 3 places.
Yep.
So at 5 then, my mum was in hospital for quite a long time as well with a bit of a head injury. So we were getting passed around family members to look after us. Dad was working 12-hour shifts. So I missed a fair bit of school in the first couple of years maybe, which is an important part, isn't it, of school, your early years. So I didn't know then, but now I know I've got dyslexia.
Yeah.
So I struggled at school quite a lot with maybe the old chalkboard at school with the lesson pre-wrote on the board, and I'll be copying off that word for word, letter for letter. Then they'd move the board to the next paragraph, and I was only 3 centimetres in, so 3 sentences in, so I'll start again on the next one. And then after I'd done that about 3 times, I thought, what's the point when this? So then I'll just start maybe messing about a little bit, whispering to the guy in front of me and maybe kicking his chair and whatever. So I got asked to leave school, secondary school, in the 3rd year. Went to a different school, but I had this thing about just joining the army, so I weren't too bothered about it. I thought, well, I don't need maths and English and all that kind of stuff because I'm just going to join the army. So long as I'm fit, then I'll be right. And it weren't until I got in the army that then people going, well, here's 3,240 rounds of ammunition for your 7 guys. I'm sure they all want the same amount of bullets, don't they? You're thinking, oh, right, that maths thing's quite important, isn't it, when it comes to life and death of firing bullets and stuff like that. So it weren't until the later years that I realised you do need this kind of stuff. It is important. But back then, it was difficult.
And you touched then on your sort of your inspirations or your, not mentors, but the influences around you when you were younger. You speak really well of your granddad and the influence he had on you. Talk to me about your mum there. So you have this car accident, and your mum's health is significantly affected by that. Is that correct?
Yeah, she got a bit of a brain injury, but not a brain, a bit of a head injury, a bit of a head knock, and we couldn't stay with her for a while. So like I said, getting passed around family, and she got her ankle crushed. And she had numerous operations over the years on trying to fix her ankle. And I remember being a young carer for her then, like pushing around in a wheelchair, and people speaking to me, like asking me questions. And like, well, my mum sat here, so she would have been like maybe, 35, 40 then, and I'm like 12. Like, we're just asking her the question, not me, you know what I mean? And pushing around in a wheelchair. So, but being a young carer was difficult as well. And then mum she had to have her leg amputated. My
that's what I read.
My mum's an amputee as well, and she struggled with it. It is hard work being an amputee, but for a female as well, who generally wear dresses and skirts, and all of a sudden to have only one leg, she really struggled with it. And she actually tried to take her own life one time. I was reading her a bedtime story, and she took her overdose. I didn't know what she was doing. I thought she was just like, I was reading the story, I weren't old enough to understand what she was doing. And then my sister come in and went, right, mum's asleep now. I was like, I'm going to bed. And she went, well, it's only like 8:30 now, she's asleep. Well, she fell asleep. So my sister come in and send the tablet boxes and all that, and phone the ambulance and all the rest of it. And that's what kind of place she must have been in at that time. She was really struggling with it. And then growing up a bit after that, I kind of like, I didn't like blame myself or blame my mum, but I thought, how could she do that when I was reading her a story? It didn't really help with me learning, because I thought, am I that bad of a reader? Am I reading that bad? That's what she's trying to do, but I didn't understand why she did it back then, you know what I mean? And I kind of, growing up like say 16, 17, 18, I didn't really speak to her very much. Mum and Dad got divorced and she moved away, and I kind of stayed with my dad. And my dad kept the family home, and me and my sister stayed there. My mum moved out, and I just kind of resented it for a bit. But then obviously when I got injured myself, then I kind of realised what she must have been going through and how difficult it must have been for her. And now we're really, really close. And I would say now she's probably one of my biggest inspirations now, because bringing 4 kids up, when Dad working 12-hour shifts, didn't have a wet room, didn't have a wheelchair, never seen her in a wheelchair really that often, didn't have a stair lift. We lived in a 3-story Victorian house. I think she was amazing, actually, and that's probably where I get a lot of my strength from now. But for a period, I was kind of, why would she do that? Because I didn't understand the struggles she was going through. Well, obviously, once I learned firsthand myself the struggles, then she'd become one of my biggest inspirations.
Yeah. And did that help you in your recovery? So you're in a situation where obviously you'd learned at that time, you'd lost your limbs. Were you able to think to your mum and take inspiration from what she'd been able to get through and the life she'd been able to have to help you to see what you could do?
Yeah, massively, because I think now how tough it must have been for her. There weren't adapted cars back then. There weren't ramps everywhere like there is nowadays. Everywhere was steps, wasn't it? And all. And like I said, me and my sisters maybe took advantage sometime. We knew she couldn't chase after us. And if we said something to each other and ran upstairs, she couldn't come upstairs running after us. So, she went through a lot, and she's still with us. She's like 74 now, I think, something like that. I see her at least 2 or 3 times a week now. Amazing. And but she's a massive inspiration to me. As I was going to think, I'm supposed to be some big tough soldier. That's what you're supposed to be, aren't you?
Yep.
So my mum, just my mum brought us 4 kids up. She got on with it. Thought I better just get on with it.
Yeah.
I can't complain. And I think, like you said before, when you're driving to work, you didn't want to skip the gym. Really, I think everything's relative to that person, isn't it? I don't look at someone who's and say, "Oh, my back's aching today, so I'm gonna have a day off or a chill." I don't think, just get on with it. I don't. If it's relative to that person, if that's stopping them getting out of bed that particular day or stopping them doing what they're doing, then they need to do something about it. They need to address that, don't they? I don't like people to look at me and think, I best just get on with things. Andy's only got one arm, or Andy's got all these injuries. If something's stopping you doing what you want to be doing that day or whatever, then you need to go and see someone to get it sorted out.
Yeah, absolutely. You spoke about resilience and developing resilience early on in life, and some of the experiences you experienced certainly have helped you do that. When I was reading through your story, one of the things that stuck out to me was the challenge from deciding you were going to join the army, and then actually the journey from trying to join the army to actually achieving that. Was it a 4 or 5 year period that you had to work?
About 5 years, yeah. So I was underweight for my height, which I didn't think was a thing. I didn't think it was a thing, but maybe at that time then, that would have been like about 1992 probably. If you think back to then, there was much conflict going on. Northern Ireland was kind of just sitting away in the background. None of these Gulf War things had happened at that stage. The Falklands had happened, but that was like in the early 80s, wasn't it? And that was kind of done thing and over quite quickly. So the army probably weren't recruiting that much really. So they could be a bit more picky and choosy if they really wanted. So if someone who's maybe a bit underweight, it could have, maybe I would have might have gone on a run. Maybe I might have passed out because I weren't healthy or strong enough. Maybe they thought I couldn't do the physical test. So they just said, go away and put some weight on. And yeah, I went and did that, but I just said the story there before, but I also made some wrong choices during that time as well, because I was quite angry. I was quite upset that I didn't get in the army. So although I wanted to get in, I did these other jobs to try and put some weight on. I also obviously turned 18 and found alcohol as we do, and we start going out, don't we? And I got arrested a couple of times. My mum let me drive a car sometimes because she was disabled, like I say, and she got tired a lot. So she'd say, "Oh, you drive the car," while she was in it. And I remember her being asleep one day, and I said, "Oh, Mum, can I borrow the car?" And she kind of went, "Well, that's a yes." So I crashed a car in town, and I had no driving licence, no insurance or nothing. And very lucky, I said to the people in court, the magistrate, that I wanted to join the armed forces, and they give you 7 points on a licence that I didn't even have on a provisional. I got off lucky there, really. At that age, 17, 18, I think that happened. I could have got sent to young offenders place, couldn't I? Really, crashing a car with no insurance and no licence or nothing, and then life would have gone on a totally different journey. But obviously, I still wanted to join up and set myself that goal. And I think now I probably would have got in the army at 9.5 stone. They probably would let you in because they're recruiting quite heavily at the moment, but then they weren't on a big recruiting surge maybe. So, but then looking back to other guys who did join at 16, 17, and we sat in the woods, in Wales somewhere, waiting for the Welsh to come and attack us. It's always the Welsh that comes and attack us when you're on exercise in the army, and it's raining, and the guy there, 17, 18, going, "This is crap, this. I'm getting soaking wet here, I'm freezing cold and whatever." And I'm sat there like 21, 22 in training going, "Mate, this is easy."
Yep.
On Civvy Street, you've got a proper graft. You've got to work hard. We're sat in the rain. The Welsh aren't going to come and attack us. In about 2 hours' time, someone's going to shout end of exercise. We'll go back to camp, get a nice warm shower, go to the naffy, have a few beers. That's it. This is easy. So I'm glad in some way I didn't join at 16.
Yeah.
I had that viewpoint to see that the grass isn't greener on the other side. And I'm going to maybe gain some more lived experience again by doing different jobs and things like that.
Yeah, it's a great example of perspective, isn't it? I think a lot, even some of the young people we have in our team sometimes, I see, the challenges they have here, but then I think I know what other jobs are like, and even some of the workplaces that we look after, some of the factories and things, I think I know what proper graft really looks like. So you've grafted really hard. You get into the army. You have a absolutely stellar military career, working your way up to corporal.
Yeah.
And then obviously the the key point in your story, that life-changing moment, is in 2009 in Afghanistan. Was it in Afghanistan?
Yeah, in Afghanistan, yeah. So during the summer of 2009, the big operation in Afghanistan called Operation Panther's Claw. And this is a big mission to push all the Taliban at that time out of the Helmand province. Yeah. So a lot of guys were getting killed and injured at that time. It was quite a tough time. So they come to our regiment and said we need 127 what's called BCRs, so battlefield casualty replacements. So guys basically go over to Afghan, step into the shoes, the guy's been killed and injured, and carry on the fight that was happening over there. So as a BCR, me and my 7 guys got attached to a regiment called the Fusiliers. They were from down south. So we've got I've got 7 guys from Yorkshire and me from Lancashire. Which they remind me of every single day that were over there, that I've crossed the Pennines and all this. I'm from the wrong side of the hill and all this. But it's just all a bit of banter, isn't it? So yeah, we got attached to the Fusiliers. So they lost like 7 guys during that summer of 2009. So we got sent over just to basically replace them guys. So we knew we were going somewhere where it was quite kinetic and things were happening. So we went over and I went on patrols with them, and it was all great. I remember, because I'm not into football at all, but there was some big football tournament on. It would have been about the 12th, and I got injured the 13th of October. So it would have been about the 10th of October. There was some big football tournament on, but obviously the Super League Grand Finals on.
Yeah.
The same time.
Yeah, second weekend of
October.
October.
About the 10th of October. So it's only around like that weekend into the 10th, 12th.
Yeah, second weekend, yeah.
And it was Leeds. We were in the final with Leeds. So I made him get another TV and get the rugby on. All these like guys from down south watching this football. We've got another TV watching rugby, and Leeds beat us as well. Leeds beat us, so I weren't happy about that. And then it was 2 days later went out on a routine foot patrol. Go and search some compounds for some weapons or some bomb making equipment. I was the lead section, so me and my 7 guys. Some guys on some high ground, all watching where we were going. Another section of 8 guys about 300 metres down the same track that I was on. So a full platoon, it's called. So there would have been altogether about 30 guys on patrol. And we went down the main road. Like I said, there was some guy with a red car, the bonnet was open. So we spoke to him, his car was overheated. So we passed him, went up the main track. And then there's some barbed wire across the track. So young Jamie, who was in front of me, he had his metal detector called a Valen. He stopped and said, there's some barbed wire here, we're going to have to go a different way. So I said, okay, mate, take a knee, look out to your front. Told the rest of the guys, get down on one knee, and the buddy system, get some water on board. You go in what's called a herringbone formation, so the rear guy will face backwards, and then they'll face alternatively left and right. So we've got 360 cover all around us. So the guys are doing that, they know what they're doing, the guys, they've been doing it long enough. And I look across to the right-hand side, and I see these three tracks leading down towards this village where we're supposed to be going. 2 of the tracks had no markings on whatsoever. And the 3rd track has some footprints on it, some cattle markings, I've seen some motorbike tracks on there as well. So I had a quick look around, looked at my watch. It was like 5 to 5 in the morning. Now I know the local people go to prayers at 5 in the morning. So for 10 to 5, quarter to 5, people generally start walking about. At night time, it gets quite windy. So the tracks generally get blown over by the sand. So I thought, well, that track there must have been used in the last 10, 15 minutes or so. Now, over in Northern Ireland, that would have been seen as a bit of a come on. Someone's walked up and down there on purpose to try and make you go down that path kind of thing. But over there, they weren't that advanced over there. Do you know what I mean? And it does get windy, so the tracks generally get blown over. So I thought, well, you make a decision at that time with all the information that you've got, don't you? You've been there that time. You see them out on the motorbikes. You see them walking about. You can only use the information you've got, can't you, at that time? So you think, right, well, let's go down that track there then, pal. So Jamie set off down the track with his metal detector, sweeping it from left to right. Told the guys, get the kit on, follow me, let's go. So I'm looking around, what's going on. I'm on the radio telling them that I'm moving forward. Probably went about 3 or 4 meters forward, and then I stood on the ID device itself. So the next thing that I'm aware of, I weren't in any pain at the time. I was like lay on my back, big dust cloud around me. Couldn't hear anything. All my mouth was full of dust and dirt. But I felt like a stunned numbness throughout my body. Imagine James Graham running straight into you at full tilt. You're like, no, like it's like shock and awe. But I weren't really in pain. I just knew something violent had happened to me. Obviously, adrenaline's a big thing, isn't it? And kicks in, done it straight away, kind of thing. That adrenaline and all that. So I looked down. I couldn't see my legs at that stage, but they weren't. I was on my back and I had a day sack on. So I'm like kind of like that. So my legs just kind of like folded over. So I couldn't see any like blood or gore or anything like that. I just couldn't see my legs. They just like dropped down. Looked across his hand, this finger was hanging off. So I made a fist and kept hold of that finger. Looked across this arm and it's twisted behind my back. So I knew at that stage then I couldn't help myself. So like standard operating procedures, everyone carries the morphine and tourniquet in the right hand pouch. We all carry it in exactly the same place. So whenever you get to a casualty, you're not trying to search his body, trying to find his tourniquets and morphine. It's all in the same place. And you've got to use that person's kit on them. Don't use your own on them, because if you become a casualty, then you've got no kit. So I knew that was there, but I couldn't get to it. So I started shouting as loud as I possibly could. For the medic, it was quite surreal because I knew I was shouting really loud, but I couldn't hear myself shouting. It was quite surreal. I knew my mouth was moving, but I couldn't hear anything coming out of it.
Is that because your ears were being destroyed by the blastings, and like when you're exposed to such a loud noise, you've got like short-term hearing loss. Basically.
Short-term hearing loss, yeah. But it's affected me. I'm like H3 and H4 in my ears now. I had a hearing test last week, and I need some hearing aids, but I think I've got enough to be putting on my body without putting hearing aids in as well. So I'm trying to fight against it. But so then I started shouting really loud. Jamie got blown forward in the blast, took some shrapnel to his back and his behind, but he started crawling back towards me. Give me some morphine, putting some tourniquets on my limbs, and very similar, I suppose. But I suppose a bit like in rugby and most other things. When we're training to go to Afghanistan and we're training to go to Iraq and these places, we do it as real as possible. So we use live ammunition sometimes. Sometimes they'll bring in people who have lost limbs and dress them up to make them look like the limbs just come off. So when we're going through these training situations, the lads are seeing this straight away, so they just get on with it, don't they? And just do it. So like Jamie would come over to me, started putting some tourniquets on, give me some morphine. Someone else come over, started talking to me. Again, I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I knew the guys were there then, and the guys are going to do the job that they've been trained to do. So I weren't panicking or thinking, oh, this is the end of my life, and I didn't
not even for a moment.
No, I didn't have that flash.
You were as close to death as you can probably be, and you didn't think this is it for me.
No, and I didn't see that tunnel, and things didn't flash throughout my life of a flashback of all these things. Other people may see that when they've been in a similar situation, and I don't know, but for me, I weren't seeing that. Yeah, I asked one of the lads, was the crown jewels okay? He confirmed that was all right. I thought, right, I'm going to close my eyes now, and drifted in and out of consciousness a little bit. And the guy did the job that the trained to do, and got me the morphine, got the tourniquets on, got me on a stretcher onto the back of a vehicle, took me back to the main camp, where the doctors did an amazing job, tidied all my wounds up as best they could. And it turned out, I didn't find out until probably about 6 months later, I was getting shown some x-rays. I thought my legs had come off at that point of injury. I thought that's it, my legs had gone. And no one ever talks about it or nothing. And it weren't about 6 months later, they were showing me some x-rays of my finger, where they were going to try and repair my finger. And he went one x-ray over, and there's a full body x-ray of me with my legs still attached, and they were all shattered. All the bones were shattered, and all the rest of it. And I was like, who's took my legs off? who decided to cut them off? Because I was like, not happy, obviously, but mentally happy that they come off at that point of injury. I thought, well, that's it. They come off then. That's it. So then to think, well, actually, you decided where to take them off. But obviously, looking at it, I only looked at it for like a split second, and I said, "Can you move that X-ray?" And they clicked onto to another one. But yeah, just seeing them on there was like quite traumatic. To just see them in place and think, who made that decision of where to take them off and whatever. Was like, yeah. So I kind of got my head around. They come off at the point of injury, but yeah, they got me back to Camp Bastion, tied my wounds up, put me into this induced coma, and then the next day flew me back to St. Hospital in Birmingham, which is now called the QE, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. An amazing place. Got me there, and I spent about 3 days on critical care in a coma, and they said my vital statistics were quite strong, so they brought me out of the coma. But I must have been in and out of it. I've got diaries, these patient diaries that they give you, and one of the nurses, I think she was called Kate, I think, had put in. Not quite Tony and Guy's, Andy, but I tried my best to clean your hair today. So I must have said in some unconscious state, semi-conscious state, that I go to Tony and Guy's for my haircut or whatever. She's been trying to clean my hair. So these little things of like, because when you're in that kind of like, in a coma for 3 days and you have no recognition of anything that happened during that time, to have these patient diaries that kind of fill in them blank gaps is absolutely fantastic, to be able to look back at them and go, well, there was people there, like one of my mates, who's a good mate of mine, Smudge. I thought he'd not come to see me, and I was a bit angry, thinking, why is Smudge not come to see me? I thought we were best mates. I know he's back in the UK, and he's not been to see me. And then I got given these patient diaries when I got discharged. He'd been, and he'd wrote it in the diary, great to see you today, mate, so I've got to go back home now, but whatever. And I was like, nice. The lads are there for you, all the time. But yeah, it's good to have that in it and fill them blank gaps in.
Amazing. Wow. So how long was the overall recovery for you?
2 years, 2 years from being injured in 2009 October, and then I got discharged from the army in July 2012. So just over 2 years. Went down to Headley Court, the Army Rehabilitation Centre. You learn how to walk there, you learn how to shave again. You've got to make, what did I have to make now? I think it was lamb casserole I had to make before I could get discharged. Cutting the carrots up and making the mash, so they knew if you found yourself on your own. Well, luckily I was with Claire, but some guys were maybe on their own or live with the mum and dad, or maybe you'll again get a flat by themselves. So they want to make sure you knew exactly how to do all your rehab. Not just about walking, but shaving again, learning to write again. William was due, my little boy was due towards the end of my recovery, so they even went and got a baby and showed me how to put nappies on. So put them on and how to fasten car seats, to learn how to do that with one hand. All these little things that you wouldn't think about, but rehab's not just about the individual, is it? It's about the other things you've got to do in your life as well, and how to do those small things. So it's about 2 years in rehab, quite a long time, but it's one of them where I found I needed to say, right, enough's enough. I can walk, I can make a brew, I can make something to eat. I'm off into the big bad world by myself now. I know some people stayed there for like 4 or 5 years, and you've got people running around after you, making your cups of tea and doing all these nice things for you. You're in a really nice environment. Your bed's getting cleaned and washed and all that. You're in your rehab just downstairs and all that. But at some point, I thought I need to get out there now into the big bad world. And I suppose for me, a bit different because I was 33 years old, where some of the guys who get injured are only like 18. Yeah. So it's a lot for taking for an 18-year-old to become a triple amputee or a double amputee. But at 33, I'm a bit older, maybe a bit wiser, and thought, well, I need to push on.
Yeah. And everyone known you for, well, been with you for less than an hour here, but you seem to have this attitude of like, just get on with it. When you're in that situation and you've got a long recovery ahead of you, was your attitude just get on with it because you don't have a choice, or was there anything else driving you at that point to want to get back in?
I suppose to prove to people what can be achieved. That's always been my thing as well, really. I suppose with having my mum there as well, I always wanted just to prove what can be achieved beyond disability and beyond injury.
Yeah.
As well, that's why some of the things that I've done, like obviously climbing Kilimanjaro. Well, I did that in 1999 when I had all my arms and legs. I was a young fit soldier. So for me, it was like, can I do that again?
Yeah.
As a disabled or injured person, is that possible to do that again? So I think part of my rehab as well was just, a lot of people now, a lot of the lads who was in rehab with me said I was quite grumpy, quite angry. But I was like, I'm not here to make friends. I weren't there to go and sit down and watch the rugby or watch the football with people. I was there to get better and move on. I was seeing it as a stepping stone to the next part of my life. So I didn't like go out with the guys. I didn't really go watching TV. I weren't into playing the Xbox. I kind of did my rehab, learned to walk that day, did my gym sessions, went in the hydro pool, whatever I had to do that day, and then I was in bed for like 9 o'clock. I wanted to get sleep, and I even went onto the traumatic brain injury ward because all those guys there was in a really bad place, and a lot of them was in bed asleep. It was quiet. They were on the board with all the lads. They were all playing Xbox and PlayStation. TV were on. They were having banter. They were laughing and joking, which is great. But that weren't for me. I thought this is just a stepping stone for my next journey that I want to be going on.
Were you planning your next journey there? If we look at your journey now being the Standing Tall Foundation, all the fantastic work you do to help veterans and disabled people climbing Kilimanjaro, when you're laying there, when you're going through your rehab in those tough times, were you starting to plan out what is next for me?
In some elements, but not all. Main was just to go home, just to get home really, just to get home for longer, because it was kind of like 2 weeks at home and 6 weeks in rehab, and then it progressed to being a longer period. But like I went on this cruise ship on holiday in 2010. I said to the surgeons, like, listen, I'm doing okay now. I think I said I need to go and spend some time with my partner, like Claire at the time. We'd only been together for about 8 months before I'd actually got injured.
Wow.
So we didn't really know. I didn't know what a favourite film was. I didn't know what a favourite colour was because I'd only seen her at weekends. So I'll say we've been together 8 months, but out of that, I've been to Kuwait for 4 weeks and I was based down south. So it was weekends I'd come home and I'd see her. So we didn't really know each other proper. Do you know what I mean? Because every time you come home for a weekend, it's like, oh, we'll go out for a nice meal and you're being the best gentleman you can possibly be, can't you?
Yeah, that early dating stage.
Yeah, being that super nice guy, aren't you? Then I'm back in the car on Sunday and I'm back down camp for a week. So we didn't really. So I said, listen, let's go on holiday and we'll probably get to know each other. But I didn't want to fly. So Claire found this holiday. So she found this cruise, and it happened to be like a world cruise, like 84 days on this world cruise. And I ended up doing a talk on the ship. And then I said to the guy, or someone said in the audience actually, Andy, what are you going to do in the future? I said, well, I won't mind doing this, but I'll get paid for it. It'll be all right. And then someone said, I'll pay for this cruise and all that. And then I said to the guy, mate, how do you do this? How do you become a speaker on these cruise ships? And he said, well, Andy, at the moment, no one really knows who you are. You've got a great story, but no one knows who you are. So what about writing a book? I thought, all right, yeah. So I started just penciling the book while I was on the ship, just writing little things down, little stories and stuff like that. And then when I got off the ship, they filmed this talk and they give it to, I give it to this guy, and one of his friends was a guy called Andy Clark, who was the CEO of Asda. At the time, he's like a non-exec director now, quite a few companies, and he watched it and said, get him, come speak to my staff. So I did like 7 talks for Asda whilst I was still in the army, while I was still serving. So I just kind of like fell into speaking, to be honest. And then since then, that's all what seems to have happened. I've just kind of fell into these like situations. I think because I accept responsibility and I've not wasted energy on blaming other people, like blaming Jamie or blaming the military, blaming the Taliban. I thought, I joined the army, so I accept responsibility for what happened. I think because I've not wasted that energy, I've just seen opportunity come available. So like, I got into the speaking, and then, you know a guy called Warren Joyce? He was the under-18s manager at Man United, and then he was the head coach at Wigan Athletic.
Yep.
So he lives in my village, and said to Claire, he come into the coffee shop that me and Claire's got and said, you think Andy will come do a talk for my team? We're not in a good place at the moment. She said, oh, well, here's his number, ask him. So this guy phoned me, like, hello, it's Andy, it's Warren Joyce here. Like, hello, Warren Joyce, what do you want? I don't know who he is because I'm not into football. Like, sort of like, what? Oh, right. He said, I'm a Wigan Athletic head coach. He said, I want you to come and do a talk for me. So I was like, all right, yeah, sound, I'll do that. I'm thinking Wigan Athletic Football Club, that'll look good. Yeah. You're going to do a talk for them. So I did that. They won the next 4 games. And then he said, I want you to come, we're playing Man United. Come as our guest to Man United and watch us play against Man United. So I went, yeah, sound. So I went and did that. Then after the game, he said, Andy, Sir Alex Ferguson's in his box. Do you want to come and meet Sir Alex? So I'm like, well, yeah, I don't have to be a football fan to know what Sir Alex Ferguson's achieved. Yeah. So I went and met Sir Alex. And he went, Andy, do you want a glass of wine? I said, oh, no, I'm not drinking at the moment. He went, well, I'm offering you a glass of wine. He's like, well, I don't want it because I'm not drinking. And someone knocked a glass of wine over. I think he was a bit put out that I didn't take the glass of wine off him. And then someone said, what are you training for? I said, 6 of my friends has passed away in 2012. I'm going to lay a reef at all the resting places, so I'm doing this 400-mile bike ride. He went, come and see me on Monday and give me this card. I went, all right, so I put it in my pocket. then I went home and told Claire what happened. I said, this guy gave me this card. Jed Mason from Mawson Group. So I Googled him and thought, is this guy here? Jed Mason from Mawson's, big recruitment company, absolutely massive. So I went and see him on the Monday, and he said, right, I want you to come do a talk for me at Glen Eagles to all my staff. He said, how much would you want for doing that? So I was like, well, I don't know, he just sponsored me $2,000 for that bike ride. He said, just give us £500 and get me a room for night if you don't mind. He said, right, I'll give you $2,000 and I'll get you a suite at Glen Eagles. I was like, yeah, mega. So I went and did that. And then I just looked at their website to see what they're doing recruitment-wise. And I said to Jed, listen, I think I can help you recruit some guys from the military to come and work for Mawson Group. Yeah, welcome on board. And I've been with them for 8 years now, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of these things have just happened just through, I think, suppose being in the right place at the right time, but accepting the responsibility for my own actions and putting myself out there as well, and just being me. Just no, I'm not. I stay humble and be kind and all that, but just be who you are. Just be authentic. I think. Yeah. And a lot of these things have happened just through that, just through me in the right place at the right time, meeting the right person, and helping people. And then these things have just kind of happened. So there's no real plan back in the day. There's things have just. I never thought I'd have my own foundation. I never thought I'd get an MBE. You know, a lad from St Helens who got asked to leave school at 13. Never thought I'd get an MBE. But these things do happen if you do push yourself, don't you? You know, one thing that I do not regret, but in the army when I was serving, if you had to do like a 1.5 mile run in 10.5 minutes, I'd do it in like 10:20. About happy days sound. Whereas now, the new version of me, we want to do it in like 9.5 minutes. We want to smash it, do it the best I possibly can. But back then, I kind of just did the minimum they had to do to get by. You know, I loved the army. It was a great job. I absolutely loved it. But I never really pushed myself. I didn't really understand then what I could achieve if I did that extra little 1% effort and pushed myself a little bit more, or went to bed that little bit earlier. And like I said, I stopped drinking 9 months ago because I was doing this talk, with motivational talks, but then I was looking at myself thinking, I'm like 15, 16 stone. I've got an hangover. I'm telling people to be the best version of themselves. I thought, I'm lying to myself. Yeah, and I'm lying to these people as well. So I thought, I need just to make some changes. So in Christmas time, I just thought, that's me. I'm going to stop drinking. Yeah. So I did.
What changed the person that would have done the running 10:20 to 9.5 minutes?
I think just by realising after being injured, and then some of the challenges that I did, like the kayaking challenge and the bike ride and abseil and things that I've done, just by doing that a bit more of preparation and having that extra bit of mindset and surrounding yourself by those other stronger people as well, what you can achieve. I think really, and the benefits of pushing yourself a little bit further rather than just coasting along.
And what do you see as the benefits? Is it proving to yourself and the self-esteem that comes from that, or is it proving to others?
I suppose a bit of both. Like I say, I think showing other people what can be achieved beyond disability and beyond injury, but also proving to myself of what you can achieve and who you can be. But then it's like that double-edged sword, because thinking, if I would have been that person back then, I might not have been a corporal. Because to be honest, I was about a couple of years behind. Some of my peers were already colour sergeants and sergeants. So if I would have put myself a bit more, then I could have been promoted. I might not have found myself in the position that I was in on that foot patrol. So I might not have been injured, but then I wouldn't be living this amazing life that I'm living now.
Interesting.
So it's like, I want to look back and think, I wish I was that person back then, but then I might not have been in the position that I'm in now. And I'm absolutely happy and grateful and with the way I'm now.
What an amazing thing to say. And this is probably the biggest question I wanted to ask you today. Because everything in your story, if you think about, tried to get into the army, got told no, but carried on, got in the army, was in Helmand, was on the patrol because other people had lost their lives, so that's why you guys were there. You were faced with 3 roads, you chose to go down one of them, and that's when you got the explosion happened, you got your injury. So like everything seemed to be like pushing you towards this point. And I have a like something that means a lot to me, or I look at a lot in my own life. And it was Steve Jobs gave the graduation speech at Stanford University, even though I think he was a Harvard student. But back when he was running Apple, he went to Stanford, and he said he was talking about his struggles with cancer and everything, and stuff to do with his parents, because obviously he was adopted. So, and he said to the student, he said, "You can't join the dots up looking forwards, only ever looking backwards." And I think it's so powerful, because sometimes shit things happen in life and you're like, why is this happening? But then when you look back, it's like those dots make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so the question I wanted to ask you today, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to, but I feel like I can, was everything that you know that's happened and this life you now had, would you change that moment to go back and go down the other road and miss that IED or not?
No, I won't change it.
Wow.
Because what I'm doing now, like this motivational speaking, if one person takes something away from that and makes a few changes in their life and have a better life, then that's down to that story that I've been through, isn't it? And I suppose, and having the foundation as well. Now, I've gone through this adversity and these injuries and all the rest of it, and it's resulted in me having my own standing tall foundation now, where I do free mental health care for anybody at all. And I know we've saved people's lives. Yeah. You know, so when I go to the foundation, I see someone sat in a chair, they're waiting for their appointments and their head's down and their life's falling to bits, they don't know what's going on. And then I see them again 2 weeks later for the next appointments, and they're sat up and they've got a smile on their face and they're waiting to see Phil, our amazing counsellor that we've got. That's because of me, you know. And I'm not a big religious person myself, really. But when I got injured, I did look up and go, "Help us out here, fella." Mm-hmm. You know, I think in that time of extreme trauma and injury and life changing things, you do look up and you do ask for help. Mm-hmm. And I was wearing an what they call a crucifix thing. One of my neighbours had given me, and it was inside my body armour. And there was someone gave me some rosemary beads, and they were inside my body armour as well. So I looked up and said, "No, give us an hand here, mate." You know what I mean? And someone did, and whether it happened for a reason or not, and whether all those things that happened to me with the car crash and my mum doing what she did and being expelled from school and other little things have made me built this resilience up for this big day that I was going to really have to dig deep and need it. Maybe that's right. Maybe that has been on this some path. And now I'm helping others. So yeah, you know, I wouldn't change a thing. And I'm living a great life. I've got a beautiful wife. You know, I've got 2 amazing children. You know, I drive a nice car and all those immaterial things that I've got as well. But I think all those little other things that I've done, like I've lived in a council flat in Parr, one of the worst areas in St Helens. You know, I got broke into 3 times in the same week and then moved back home again. But all these things I've lived experience, and I think lived experience is a great thing, isn't it? And I think, you know, if I speak to another veteran, I've walked the walk that he's been down, you know, I've experienced the things that he's experienced. I can 100% relate to what he's been through. So by speaking to them with their troubles, they know, and he's been through this situation that I've been through, and he come out the other side of it. So yeah, no, I wouldn't change a thing. I think life's amazing at the moment, and I'm pushing on.
That's amazing to hear. I'm a big believer that the key to happiness is purpose, and like you seem like you have a very clear purpose. You know, everything that you're doing now, the Standing Tall Foundation. How would you define your purpose in life?
Yeah, I think just get out of bed, innit? Just to get out of bed every day.
I love it.
And just put my legs on, put a smile on my face, and go and do what I'm doing. I think even just doing the school run of a morning, you know, other parents see me in the rain walking around, and they might be having a bad day that day. You know, like say I climb Kilimanjaro, someone else's mountain might just be getting out of bed that morning, and they might be really struggling with the cost of living and whatever. But they've got out of bed, they've got the kids dressed, and they're taking them to school, and then they see me and go, "Andy's doing it." Yeah, and even without speaking to me, they might see that, might they, and just crack on. The amount of people that stop me when I'm just out and about shopping and go, "Wow, well done," and I'm like, I'm just walking. I'm just walking about maybe around Sainsbury's yesterday, and some go, well done, mate.
How do you take that?
I'm like, that's okay. Cause I'm just doing what I'm doing, aren't I? I'm no one special. There's a lot of other injured guys out there doing it as well, and I don't take praise that well. I'm just like, oh yeah, it's okay, it's cool. I don't know how to because I've no other choice, have you?
No.
Get out of bed in the morning, put my legs on, do what I've got to do, get the kids to school, and then right, what's on? What's on today? Where have I got to be? That's it. Yeah.
When you seeing someone who's struggling, how do you help them? What's your go-to?
I'll go and stop and chat to him. You know what I mean? I see people. If I see someone like in a wheelchair, they've got one leg. I'm like, oh, you're all right, mate. How are you getting on with that? What limb centre did you go to? Or get yourself to Preston, mate. It's one of the best ones in the country. Get yourself there. I think because of what the lived experience that I've had, I can chat to an homeless person. I've no problems doing that. I can chat to a young scholar who's been expelled from school. You know what I mean? I can also chat to members of the royal family. I've met David Beckham a couple of times. I've met all these people, but I'm not in awe of people.
Yeah,
and that's not because I don't.
I obviously am. I just said wow when you said David Beckham.
I met David Beckham in London once at an awards night, and he'd come over chatting, and I said, all right, pal, yeah, well, yeah, and I said, I don't watch football, mate. To be honest, I'm a rugby league fan. And he went, so I couldn't play rugby league. I went, yeah, no. But he's the same age as me, Beckham. He's 33, but he wanted to be a footballer. And he wants to be the best footballer he could possibly be. And that's what he worked really hard at. And he become that. Good on him. I'm not like in awe of this guy. If you want to be a builder, be the best builder you can possibly be. You want to be an hairdresser, be the best hairdresser you can possibly be if that's what you want to do. So that's all he's done, isn't it? Really, it's just the same as me and you, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he's worked really hard, and obviously his family and supported him as well on the journey. Ted, I'm friends with Ted. His dad comes to our gala dinner every year with Hillary, right? Hillary Meredith solicitors. So yeah. But when I meet people, I just see them as an equal. They might have titles, mightn't they? They might not have. They might be sat on the floor in a homeless guy there in the floorboard. They're there they made a wrong choice maybe, or a set of circumstances have put them in that situation, haven't they? Maybe they're out drinking, maybe they've seen some nice girl at the bar, maybe they give her a little slap on the bum. Next thing you know, he's getting done for sexual assault, he's lost his job, his wife left him, his mates are fed up from sleeping on the sofa, he's on the streets.
Yeah.
He's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's just made one wrong choice.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Most people who are homeless have just made a wrong decision.
Yeah.
And then through set of circumstances, they found themselves where they are. And I think, if you're living on the streets and it's freezing cold, then you might have a drink to help yourself sleep. Then that might lead to something else. But they're not bad people. They've just made a wrong choice, 99% out of them. And I think that's just to help them, give them a hand up rather than a handout. I think for me, I see a homeless guy there, and you say, well, there's £100. Well, on Monday, he's still going to be homeless, isn't he? If that's Friday. But we've actually said, you know what, mate, on Monday morning, come to my foundation and we'll give you some mental health treatment, or we'll speak to the drug and alcohol advisor, or we'll get you a shower, or we'll get you some new clothes from the charity shop there. For me, giving people a hand up rather than a handout is the right thing to do, isn't it?
Mm. Absolutely. When you're doing your motivational talks to whoever it may be, a professional football team, a workplace, what's your secret to leaving those people feeling inspired and motivated?
I ain't got no secret, I don't think.
Do you just lean into your story and hope that they think, if he's doing it, what's my excuse?
Just tell my story. And that's it. And then it's up to them, I think, to take away elements of it, of what they need in their lives. I don't try to press on them. I'm not don't know if he watches this your podcast or not, but I'm not like Joe.
No one, don't worry about it.
I'm not
just
like
for me, this.
Joe Wicks, you know what I mean?
No.
They're going, everyone wake up in the morning, let's do some star jumps, let's do this.
I think Joe Wicks probably will watch our podcast.
Will he?
Actually.
Yeah.
He's a big fan.
Well, Joe, no, not everyone's going to get up in the morning and do star jumps, mate, because life's difficult, isn't it? Life's tough. People haven't got time in the morning to do star jumps. No, I've got 2 young kids. I'm trying to get ready for school in the morning. William's sat in the dark and he's getting dressed in the dark. I'm like, William, can you turn your bedroom lights on, mate? No, I don't want the lights on. Well, you can't get dressed in the dark, mate. That's not what you do.
I did today, obviously.
Scarlett's running around, more interested in playing Barbie rather than putting a uniform on. Life's just tough, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah. I just think, it's okay to tell people, do this. This is what I do. You should do that. You should do this. You should do that. No, you can't tell people to do that. Just, this is what I did. This is how I've got from being on that stretch in Afghanistan fighting for life to climbing the top of the world's highest freestanding mountain. This is what I've done by setting myself immediate, middle term, long term goals, by being kind, by staying humble. This is what I've done. If you want to take some things of that away and put them into your life, then that's great. But I'm not going to try and force it down your neck of what I've done. I think I'll just tell you a story. You just take away from me whatever you want, and if some of that you can implement some of that and maybe make some little choices, little changes, then that's great.
Yeah. If you mentioned goal setting there, and it seems clear that throughout your journey that's been important. How do you get people to think about the best way to set their own goals?
Yeah, I think for me, I just set myself like a little immediate goal, which can just be like I'm doing the London Marathon next year, so I'm going to walk the London Marathon next year. That's my next big challenge that I'm going to do. So like an immediate goal when I start my training in October, it's just going to be walk from mine to Starbucks. It's only like about 2 miles away. So I think, and then a middle term goal might be walk from mine to like Liverpool, which is about 11 miles away from where I live. So then the long term will be to do the marathon, walk the 26 miles of the marathon. And I think having them immediate, middle term and long term goal can be anything, can't it? For well, like I say, for somebody it might just be getting out of bed and coming downstairs and making a brew that day. That's the immediate goal. And the long term goal is maybe because they feel isolated and they've got anxiety or whatever. It's just to go to the shop or see the friends again. Mm-hmm. So I think wherever it is, your goal is just break it down into like smaller, more achievable pieces. Like I say, in the rugby world, maybe like, let's see if we can be 15 points up by half time. Let's not think of winning the game at this moment in time. Let's just think by half time, can we be 12 points up or 15 points up or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But sometimes people think of the bigger goal too much and it becomes too overwhelming. It can become a bit too much weight on thinking, it's going to seem too far away, can't it? Too massive. But I think by having those like really small, achievable ones makes it seem more real. And I think also celebrating that success of achieving that just immediate goal. So if it is for me just to walk from mine to Starbucks, or when I get to Starbucks, treat myself to like a donut or something like that and go, oh, smashed that, well done, smashed it. But it's what to say, it's a mile away from my house. So it's 25 miles away from actually what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
But it's a great achievement. And I think celebrate that little success will then steer you on and push you on further.
Very good. Well, it's been a really fascinating conversation with you. I feel like there's lots of stories that we could go into and probably talk for hours, but I just wanted to finish by, anybody that's listening to this today, what is the sort of the one message or one thing you want them to think about when they're on their drive home tonight?
I think like I said earlier on, maybe just be kind. That's what I kind for do. Like if you see someone sat at a junction and they're waiting to get out the junction, just flash them out. It adds 30 seconds to your journey. They might be going for a job interview, or they might be going to see an old relative. They might be late for the school run. Who knows? You know what I mean? I just think for me, you flash someone out with junction, they give you a little wave, I feel happy. Yep. I get this little buzz inside me, like, I've helped someone there. I don't know who they are. I'm not actually physically give them anything. It's not cost me anything. Bit of my time. Let them out the junction. I think, that'd be my message for you. Let them out the junction.
That's good. It's amazing perspective. Amazing. And I'd like to thank you so much for your time today and sharing your inspirational story with us. It's truly remarkable.
No, thank you very much.
Congratulations for all the fantastic work that you do. It's clear that you've got a very strong purpose in life and you're helping an awful lot of people. So thank you for that as well.
No, thank you. Thank you for you guys as well for supporting the foundation as well and being a foundation partner.
Amazing.
It helps a lot of people.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.